We are back.
Voltron Network.
What's good, guys? Welcome back to Talking at the Movies. I'm Eddie Reese Antonio. Where did he go, Mo?
Well, Salim normally goes first.
No, but it's you because I'm like
he's the guest.
He's the
I'm
guest
now.
Right, then it's Mo, the star. That's what you're here to see.
And it's your boy Salim.
Salim is back. Yes, if you are a recent listener and you're always wondering who the hell is that third person on the thumbnail that we never see, well, it's this guy. He is back.
Are you ever actually going to update the thumbnail now that I'm just a guest?
I have mentioned this to him.
Yeah, I gotta get around to it. It's just a headache, man, because it doesn't always work properly. Like iTunes doesn't always want to update shit, but I'll do it. So, Salim, how you been?
I am.
How's life?
I finally tied the knot, and I am now married, and that's why there's so much time and energy now going into my relationship that I just don't get time to join you guys on a podcast.
You shouldn't have to work so hard in a new relationship. It's terrible. So,
you know,
working energy.
When you get there, if you ever get there, then you'll understand. Mo already gets it, but you'll understand.
hence, see, I couldn't be bothered. Hence, why I am where I am. Right? I couldn't be asked to work as hard as Salim.
Yeah.
This week, guys, we're going to be talking each of our top 5 films and TV, and then we're going to kick off Salim, and then we're going to talk about Wonder Woman 1984.
Is that how many stars you're giving it? 1,984 stars out of 5.
It sure is. So let's get started. Oh, Mo, have you also got? We got a message, I think, on Insta as well.
We have, yes. We have got one of our listeners has also popped in with his top 5 TV and top 5. So what we'll do is before we do our top 1 shows, I'll do his shows. Yep, and then we'll do the same with movies.
Well, I've got one as well from a listener as well, so Phoebe. So we'll get into those. So what should we start with then?
Start with TV.
Let's do it. Who goes first? Salim.
All right. Okay. So earlier on in the year, I started off with a show that I like. I actually realized that before this we started to record, I pinned Eddie a message saying I don't think I've watched that many TV shows. But then when I went through my list, I thought, bloody heck!
No, I haven't watched anything. All of you guys will be fine.
So I'm gonna this show. I thoroughly enjoyed. I hugely recommend it. I don't think Eddie's seen it, but on my top 5 is the TV show on Netflix, Hollywood.
Ah, I did see that.
And he done his usual stop before the last episode.
Yeah, I wasn't gripped. I wasn't gripped by it.
No.
Once I found out it was using a handful of real people, but it wasn't a real scenario. It was making the whole thing up. I wasn't interested.
Eddie, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Eddie. That does not fly with me anymore. You watched that thing on Netflix about the French Revolution with supernatural stuff in it.
That's different. That's complete fantasy.
That's exactly the same.
So wait. So just so I understand this, you said he's doing his usual thing. So you're saying to me that you watched a certain amount of episodes, and then before you got to the last one, you realized
he does that a lot.
That was not what happened. There was no stakes. I didn't care once I knew that they were just making they weren't presenting it like a fantasy like Le Revolution was. They were presenting it like it was normal, grounded.
Eddie, I got news for you. Star Wars is not real either. It's a made-up story.
It's not the same.
Regardless, the story, the characters in this, it was a really, really good TV show. And it had me gripped from the very beginning all the way to the very end. And even though it's not in the way that you wanted, I thought it was still really, really, really good.
Okay.
Are
we going to stick with each, or do you want to...
Go do a round. Go around.
Yeah, we go around, right?
Yeah.
All right. So I'm gonna start with my one. Oh, are we actually doing these in order, or from 5 to 1?
Every single year. No, you start at number 1 and work your way down to 5.
Right. Okay, so my number 5, Tiger King.
So I actually had Tiger King on my list, but I took it off. But it was very, very close.
Really? Oh, you took it off. I'm interested to
took it off.
see. You put Hollywood over Tiger King.
Yeah.
Cultural Revolution, which was Tiger King.
Tiger King was very good. Mo, you
was
never
too
got
good.
around to watching it, right?
I watched one episode, didn't really like grab me.
Oh, doing your usual thing, just abandoning the show once you start watching it.
Well, reality TV, I just don't watch. I just don't like trash TV.
So is that what it was, Eddie? Because you like so much trash TV that you had to put it in your list?
Yeah, definitely. A lot of people forget that this is 2020. It feels like this was like a fucking year ago or 2 years ago. This happened. This came out right at March, right before. Yeah, shit went crazy, and it still resonated with me. It's still awesome. We're still going to be getting spin-off films from it. Nicolas
So the
Cage.
thing that I like about this is that I can actually see this as a TV show, a proper TV show with those characters in it.
They are doing one, aren't they?
Yeah.
Is Nicolas Cage is going to be Tiger King, or is it a film? I can't remember.
I think there was 2 different projects.
Right,
There was one film and one TV thing, but that's the madness of this. Every person in this show is a character, and they're real people, but they're all fucking insane. It's amazing. I loved it. Number 5 for me.
And as you said, that Mo's cat just walked past.
Yeah.
Tiger King.
The Kitty King.
So when I look through my list of the amount of shows I've watched this year, I suddenly realize I've watched not like all complete, but like 29 different shows from 2020.
Jesus.
29. Narrowing it down. Yeah, well, we have been locked away, right? And narrowing that down to 5 was very difficult.
That's nuts.
But my number 5, I don't think you've watched it, Eddie, but I think Salim has. And I was actually going to avoid watching this, but word of mouth on it was so good that I had to watch it, and I fell not only in love with the show, but the main actress as well, the Queen's Gambit.
One that I wanted to really get down to see, man, but I just can never get around to doing it.
So
now
that you're saying I've seen it, am I going through amnesia or something? Because like I'm thinking
the Netflix show about chess.
The girl who played chess.
Right. Okay, so there's a story behind that, right? Is because I was supposed to watch that with my girlfriend at the time, who's my wife now, right? And she went and saw it without me. So I was so annoyed. We had a big argument about that. And I said, I'm not going to watch that show, but I really want to watch it.
So why is it so good? Why should we watch it?
It's just a really compelling story about like a chess player. Like you kind of think, how could you make playing chess interesting? You don't need to know how to play chess. In fact, really, like they don't ever explain the chess rules or anything like that, but it's just the drama of this poor orphan girl who's just like has nothing in life as a child, and then all of a sudden one day realizes that she is some sort of like chess genius, and watching her journey going from like playing her first chess match all the way up to like playing a grandmaster. It's beautifully shot. It's just exquisite. Like you get to see like South America in the 60s in these like big fancy hotels. You get the story of like her trying to get to like Russia, like the CIA and all that sort of stuff getting involved, because obviously at that time we've got the Cold War and they really want like an American to go up there and big themselves up. It's just fantastic.
All right. I really wanted to squeeze this in before we did this, but damn it. But this has been massive. Like, you wouldn't really expect when you just think of the premise, you wouldn't expect it to be so popular. It's just weird, the things that catch fire sometimes.
And like I said, it was unless if I hadn't seen so much of like good word of mouth, I would not have watched it.
See, that's the thing that's grabbed me as well, is that, you know, Eddie knows this. I'm a very good chess player. I used to, after school, I used to go to the chess club and beat everybody.
He's one of those guys.
Yeah. All right.
One of those guys. But the thing is that although a subject that can seem slightly a bit boring, and that whoever's seen it says the drama, the build-up of this show is just insane. That is what's driving me to want to watch this, because I want to know how they made this subject or this game so interesting. Obviously, it's to do with the main character, but still.
It's kind of sad as well, because it shows you the power of Netflix, because there are so many other shows that came out this year that weren't on Netflix, which I think deserved more attention, but because they were just on regular channels,
Mhm.
They just disappeared without a trace. No discussion, no people talking about it, no social media presence. It's just Netflix just has a way of getting in. Everyone watches it, so it's a shame.
But just look at You, right?
Yeah, another one.
Yep,
When it was
yep.
on Warner Brothers, whatever channel they had it on, Lifestyle, I think it was. You know,
Yeah,
some
nobody
people
watched
watched
It's
it.
the
But
it's the global service, right? It's something that is available everywhere.
yeah, it's true.
And it's still relatively cheap and easy to like watch. Like, like there are some services that have come out and they're not available on like every device. Like Apple TV can't have it on Android.
Fucking dumb. So number 2.
Right. So
Number 4.
my number 4 is
Oh, fuck,
Ratchet, another Netflix with Sarah Paulson, is it?
I believe something like that. Yeah.
And Sharon Stone. Another very, very, very good show about some nurse that just works in an asylum.
Well, yeah. A
And
prequel to One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. Yeah.
Yeah. But again, highly recommend that show. Whatever Sarah does, right? She's always kind of playing these weird and crazy roles.
She does.
Right. And she does it so well. Like, it's almost as if she was born to play these roles, these crazy roles.
Yeah. And I think the first thing I ever saw her in was back in the 90s.
Yes, yeah.
American Gothic. Yeah.
Yeah, that's
And she was
yeah.
like a teenage girl or something, and she was
Now,
that
she
was a crazy show.
spirit, wasn't she?
Yeah.
Great show that was. I remember that being really good.
It was.
Yeah. So again, that comes in at my number 4. Check it out if you haven't seen it.
Right. My number 4. Oh, this is difficult. Okay. Barbarians. The Netflix period epic, which I loved. I loved it. Loved it so much. Tells the story of the Romans' attempt to invade into Germany or Germania. And so you probably might not like it.
Now I didn't even know they existed. Go on.
Yeah, you might not like it because there's no English in it. It's all fully Latin. And
phone just went straight down.
The whole thing is the Romans speak Latin and the Germans speak ancient German. So yeah, it's but it was great. It was great. Loved it. Get into it.
I did watch one episode. I thought it was pretty good. It didn't like drag me in, but I suspect if I watch episode 2 and 3, it probably will. But it was just something I just didn't get around to watching.
Again, why'd you bother start if you know you're not going to commit?
Well, you got to like watch an episode to see whether it grabs you or not, right?
That's what I did with Ratchet actually, and I did like it. I think I watched 2, so I do want to continue it. So yeah.
Right, Mo.
Oh, number 4. So this year there were three different Star Trek shows, right? And I wasn't going to put all 3 in my list, and I don't think all 3 deserve to be in the list. It did take me a little bit of like sitting down to like decide which one I want to put in.
I forgot all about these other ones.
Number 4, Star Trek Lower Decks. I chose this one not because it was the newest one, but just because I had such a good time with it. It was so funny. It was so meta.
29 shows you've watched this year, and this makes your top 5.
Oh,
Lower Decks.
Absolutely.
Well, I would continue laughing, but if you know from my top 5, what is number 5, I think you're going to crack up as well. So I'm just going to keep my mouth shut. But I kind of get it because, as a Star Trek fan, I was thinking of adding 1 or 2 things in there from Star Trek, but I didn't. But okay. But Mo, what exactly was it about? Was it just it made you? What else was it about?
It was funny, and that's something we definitely needed at this in 2020. I mean, you didn't watch all the episodes, Eddie, and you were just determined to hate it because you hate Star Trek. You're a Star Wars fanboy, and then the later episodes, they just absolutely nailed like the parody of Star Trek. They didn't take it too seriously, but they went really deep into like the lore and like what had come before.
Has it become slightly a bit more serious, or is it?
No, it was. Yeah. It never became fully serious, but it was never silly to begin with, though, right? There was always like it was silly, but there was still a level of like professionalism to like those characters.
Except the black chick, because she was annoying as hell.
She was very annoying. She was so annoying that I've stopped listening to the podcast as well.
But you just don't like strong women, do you? Like both of you have a problem with that.
I have. Okay, so let's move on to number 3.
Number 3.
Yeah, number 3. This one I wasn't going to watch until my partner sort of dragged me into it. And it's, again, if you have not seen it, it's only 6 parts. Check it out, which is the Undoing with Nicole Kidman and Hugh Grant.
I did watch that, actually. I watched it.
This show kept me on the edge, and it did a very, very good job of me continuously asking the question, because you can't, they didn't drop it all at once. It was one week after the next, but trying to figure out, okay, did this person do it? And I was constantly in this sort of maze of who actually committed this crime.
So that's what it's about. It's a show about a crime.
It's a drama, right?
Yeah,
So
it's like a rich people drama, right? And it's like a murder has happened, and it's kind of like there is a obvious suspect because all the evidence points to that particular person, but then it's the unraveling or the undoing.
Quick question, since both of you've seen it, I've seen multiple times that it's a good show, but then it just plummets at the end.
Yep.
I didn't mind how it ended. I liked it, but I get that sort of thought as well. But again, thoroughly enjoyed it. So check it out. Eddie.
My number 3 is The Mandalorian season 2. Very happy, and thoroughly enjoyable. Something I looked forward to watching each week after episode 1 or 2, and and ended with a legit audible squeak out my mouth with how it went down. Like, this joy took me back to my childhood. Loved it.
I will say I really enjoyed it. I really sort of like thought, do I add it to the list? And I was kind of like, there was only 4 episodes out of the 8 that were actually good.
No.
So I didn't think that actually deserved to go on the list. I mean, I will say that final episode was superb, but I cannot put a show into the list on the strength of just 2 or 3 episodes.
The whole season was enjoyable.
No, Eddie,
once it all connected together,
you're completely forgetting what you used to say.
That's because we thought that these weren't going to be continued. We thought it was just going to be this thing that was going to get dropped. But once it didn't, retroactively, it made the ones before better.
Nah, those 4 episodes, those first 4 were still weak sauce.
No. So yeah, thumbs up.
Yeah. So number 3 for me. So I wanted to get, before we got to like the heavy hitters, get like a comedy in, right? And there had been so many good comedies this year. There'd been Ted Lasso, there'd been Rami. And in fact, Rami was probably the one that was going to go in here. But about last week, I was going to say 2 weeks, but I think it was last week, I watched a show called Dave. Yeah. And if you haven't checked out Dave, check it out. It's on the iPlayer. It's an American show. And it was just superb. And it just made me laugh so much. And the story, even though it's quite ridiculous, is kind of unique. It's all about like a white Jewish guy who essentially thinks he is like the best rapper in the world ever. He's never actually rapped in front of anyone. He's never released. He's like put a couple of videos up on YouTube, but he legit thinks like he is the best, like has ever lived and there will ever be. And it is just so funny to go on this journey with him.
Yeah, heard good things about
this. Like a 25-minute, 30-minute.
Yeah, it's about like a 30. It's not. It's like a dramedy type thing, right? So it is like serious, but it is just like overtly funny as well.
That actually sounds a lot of fun.
It's a lot of fun. It's like 8 episodes or something on iPlayer. Go check it out. Like, you'll love it. You'll watch 1 episode, and then you'll just want to watch the rest.
Wait, is it British or American?
No, it's an American show.
Yeah. All right. Okay.
Yeah.
Right. So my number 2 is season 2 of The Boys.
Number 2. Okay.
Yes. This was a really difficult one. Try to place this at number 1 or number 2, but I started in at number 2. Again, what do you say about this show, man? Like, everything about it was just so much fun. I love the bad guy. I love the new characters that were thrown in. And as always, the Australian dude whose name I forgot, for me, always...
Carl Urban.
Yeah, always steals the show.
New Zealand, I think it is.
What's that?
New Zealand.
Yeah. So again, that comes in at number 2 for me.
Yeah. My number 2 Ozark.
Oh yes.
Yeah, great. Just too good. Such a good show. Sometimes I feel like when it starts, I'm a little apprehensive to start it because I know it's going to be heavy. But soon as I watch that first episode or two, I'm like straight through. It's just too gripping. You're on the edge of your seat. You can't believe that they're making the decisions that they make. This insane family that they seems to bury themselves deeper and deeper into crime and all the dumb shit that they do. You don't know who to trust, and the season ends with like a crazy what the fuck moment. Like, yeah, Ozark, love it.
Yeah, I think that was one of our best breakdowns when we had all watched it, and we're just like, even when we're talking about it, we had just such a fun discussion about all those characters every week. But yeah, well, no, sorry, we just like did the one-off, didn't we? The one-off review on it. Yeah.
So good.
Mo?
So, my number 2. I was quite surprised actually because I didn't like season 1 that much. But season 2 of the Umbrella Academy, I thought was just absolutely fantastic.
Yeah.
I just loved that whole like the arc of like JFK, the time travel, the way that they actually utilized all the characters this season and just made them all so interesting, and then just drop you like with this little teaser at the end for what's to come next season.
Yeah, it was it was a much improved hell of a ride of a season.
Yeah.
So for some bizarre, I've actually stayed away from the Umbrella Academy. But if you're saying that season 2 is your number 2 pick, then maybe I need to check the show out.
It's a fun show, man, and it's
It's
not like
very,
season
very
one's bad. It's just fine. You know, it's
Yeah.
good. It's just fine, but it's good.
Okay.
But 2 just becomes so much more, so much better written.
Yeah. The main lead little kid, like he's really young, like he's 15 or 16. I mean, he just carries that show. Like it's like he's an old man acting in a young man's body.
Well, that's the character side. It's like an old man who's like trapped in the body of a 14-year-old, and he acts it to perfection.
Yeah.
Okay. My number 1 was Ozark. Eddie. Again, I love Jason. Is it Jason Bateman?
Jason Bateman.
Yeah, loved everything about the show. This show just propelled from season 2. Like I actually thought that season 1 was okay for me, but season 2 was just like something amazing. It was just brilliant, and I was always in suspense. I was always sort of watching the show and felt anxiety. What the hell is going to happen to these characters? Are they going to survive? So for me, it comes in at number 1.
That whole bit at the end where the sister suddenly like has that realization that she can't escape, and there's only like one outcome for her brother.
Yeah.
But another thing about that show is that every character, you think about it, every character is written so well. Like everyone has a good place within that show. You know, sometimes you watch a show and one character's up there and the other one's like down there, and you're like, they're not all that balanced. But for me, everyone was balanced throughout.
Yeah, awesome.
Yeah,
my number 1, The Boys. Won't overtalk it because what more could be said? We've reviewed it every week, but great show. Nothing more, even more than Mandalorian. That when it was on, once the episode came up, instantly had to watch it. Just too much fun, too much of a rad. Loved it. You never knew where it was going to go. Completely unpredictable. Yeah, great.
Right. That's saying something about just the overall show, because season 1, if I'm not mistaken, was your number 1 from last year, right?
Probably.
Yeah.
Probably. I don't remember. Well.
And my number 1 is also The Boys. Last year I only put it at number 3.
Interesting. Was Picard this year?
Picard was this year, yes.
You loved that show.
I did, but like I said, like I was only going to put 1 Star Trek show because there's like 3 of them.
Could have put all 3.
And I think the last episode of Picard really did like sort of like wasn't very satisfactory. I think we did discuss that when we discussed that last episode. It was they built up this whole mystery, and they kind of like just didn't do anything with it.
No.
I really thought Picard was going to be in your top 5.
Same here.
It was either going to be Picard or it was going to be Lower Decks, right? And like I said, I just had a lot of fun with Lower Decks.
All right.
So the
Okay.
boys.
Yeah, the boys. I mean, like, I guess you guys have like said everything. We did the week by week breakdowns. There's not much more that I can add. Just at the fact there might have been like in the middle a bit of a slowdown, but like on both ends, it was just fantastic.
Yeah. Time for movies now. Top 5 movies of the year. So, Sana, again, let's start with you.
So, okay, so now I haven't actually seen that many movies, right, this year, right?
Yeah.
There aren't
Same.
actually that many movies to watch this year.
Right.
I
So,
thought that, but then when you look at the list online, there's so many that we could.
there is, right? So I had to think about how what I kind of, like the top 5 is this, like, you know, whatever goes in here has to make me feel special, get me excited, you know? So my number 5 is Sonic the Hedgehog.
It's a fun film, though. Come on.
You know what? I actually watched that on Saturday night. Or last night, maybe. I can't remember. I did watch it.
Finally.
You know what?
It's fun.
It's not a bad film.
Told you.
It's not a bad. It's actually a good. It's not a bad film. It's a lot of fun. But the thing I really like about this movie is that I don't know if it was a marketing ploy or whatever, but I feel that the filmmakers actually listened to the audience. Do you remember the first?
Yeah.
You know, and watching this just took me back to my childhood. It's something I can't remember the last time I saw a video game good movie, and I wanted something, and Sonic, you know, caught me by surprise. I was expecting it to be rubbish, but again, Jim Carrey, like, I love Jim Carrey's super over the top acting, and this is what he brought with Dr. Robotnik. I thoroughly enjoyed this movie.
Yeah, man.
It's I did like the little touches that they put into Sonic, right? You know, like when he like jumps off like that skyscraper, and when he lands, like all the rings go flying, like he's been hit by the enemies, or like the little bits of like the Sonic music that would creep into like some of the scenes.
Yeah. So unexpected, but yeah, that hit comes in at number 5 for me.
That's fair. Yeah, top 5 was hard for me because I really didn't watch enough to really have 5 films that represented the best of the year, so I've had to compromise.
Well, it's more of the best 5 films you've seen this year, right?
Yeah, but you want them to be good films.
But this 2020 was like slim pickings. Like a lot of the good films just didn't come out.
No, but there were indie films. There were a lot of good indie films that are highly rated. We just too lazy.
But did
to
you
watch
watch them?
No,
No, exactly. Didn't watch them. So that's your fault.
But I did manage to squeeze out some 5 that I did enjoy. Number 5 for me, The Way Back.
Yep.
Ben Affleck.
Very depressing, but yep.
Yeah, but it's just a damn good film, and he acted the shit out of this. He needed this, you know, after the last couple of years of kind of the embarrassment of the Batman films, the way they were being critically received. He needed something that was just a pour de force in terms of acting, and this was.
Was he really acting in this film?
He was, man. Well,
was he just playing himself?
Nah, he ain't got nothing to be miserable about in real life, man. Especially when you see who he's dating right now. But yeah, this the alcoholic basketball coach.
Yep,
that's pretty much bottom of the barrel, and he just can't get over his alcoholism, trying to win back his ex, and it's just heartbreaking. But good film.
Is this on Netflix?
No.
All right.
So.
Okay.
No. But yeah, good film.
Right. My number 5. This was literally, I think, the last film I went to see at the cinema before this whole lockdown started. Literally, I think it was a couple of weeks before. Makoto Shinkai's follow-up to Your Name, A Weathering with You.
Okay. Yeah.
It's not as it was not as good as Your Name, but just going to see this at the cinema with a packed sort of crowd. The animation style is beautiful. The story is pretty unique compared to like other films, and very, very enjoyable.
Okay.
All right.
What was it about?
It was about a girl. So it's basically about a sunshine girl. So she could control the weather. Oh. So because it was always raining, people started hiring her for like basically parties and stuff to like make it like sunshine. But obviously, all of this kind of stuff comes at a cost. And as any Japanese movie will always have like a tragedy because of the good stuff.
Yeah. Okay. So Adam.
Okay. Yeah. So number 4, a film that you guys told me to watch, and I was like, no, I kept on putting it off. And then one day I thought, sitting with my partner, I just thought, you know what? I'm going to watch this. Extraction. I loved this movie so much. When it comes down to action, right? When it comes to action, this brought it. This brought it on
Yes.
every bloody level. Another thing that I really enjoyed about this movie is the journey itself was brilliant as far as but the drug lord from Bangladesh who owns the country versus the drug lord from India who's in prison, like that combination and having these like really good some of these actors, you know, they're not all that well picked up in India. I think the guy that he was going head to head with, well respected and stuff, but he's not like a big name. But it was nice to see these people in this movie, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. My wife thoroughly enjoyed it. And if you have not seen this film, check it out. Great fun.
My number 4, Love and Monsters.
I just watched that the other night as well.
Oh, you did? What do you think of it?
Yeah, it's So I thought the first half, I didn't really like it that much, and I think I fell asleep at one point.
Oh, Mo.
And then when I woke up, I did rewind it back to the point that I'd actually fallen asleep, and I thought the second half of the movie actually picked like right up, and like by the time it got to the end, I was like, I think I've actually enjoyed this.
Yeah. Oh, it's like Zombieland, but with monsters. The world's been overrun with these sort of, I can't remember where they're from. Were they aliens or something? No, they were mutated,
it was like
weren't they?
it was like an environmental disaster that we then caused.
Yeah, but the insects and various animals in the world have been mutated into these massive monsters, and the world's just been decimated. So you're just dealing with, like with Zombieland, you're just dealing with the survivors and their.
So is it a comedy or is it
dramedy? Kind of comedy moments,
romance type thing.
Yeah, like Zombieland. That same sort of thing. But yeah, it's an enjoyable, feel good, a nice way just sitting on the couch. Good film to watch. I enjoyed it. That's my number 4.
Right, my number 4, completely different from both of your guys. Is it's not often, I guess, an Adam Sandler film makes it into the top 5, but Uncut Gems.
Wait, well, hold up. That's 2019.
That came out this year.
No, it's because that was going to be on my list.
It might say 2019, but it came on Netflix here this year.
All right, fair enough.
Yeah, I think there was different rights things for that one.
Yeah.
Oh well, that would have definitely gone on my list too, Mo. Like,
hold on a minute, didn't you say you didn't like it when you reviewed it?
No. I love that movie, man. I mean, like that was Adam Sandler at his. This was the film for me that were like Adam Sandler, put him in a serious role and he can bloody act. Go on.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Absolutely. This was like, it's one of those films, and there aren't many like this, that you felt exhausted watching it, because it is just, once it gets going, it's just full on. It just doesn't let up right up until that like unexpected like end.
The thing about this movie was that it's like your best mate and you're saying to him, don't do it. All the way through, you're like having this conversation with this character on screen who's never going to hear you, obviously, because you're watching a fucking movie, but don't leave the bet.
Not only are you having that conversation, but you can see him every single time getting screwed over, yet still doing it.
Never learning.
Yeah. And the thing about that is that this guy, like everyone kind of more or less just freaking like from one big bad guy, right, who is going to kill you if you don't give his shit back, taking his stuff, giving it to the broker or to the person that's going to lay the bet. Oh my God. Yeah,
and then he's also taking like that, was it the basketball player's ring or something?
Yes. Eddie, check it out if you haven't seen it.
Yeah. Not a good thing. So yeah, but it's because it's I know it's a heavy film. Where I just got to be in a headspace.
It's not that heavy of a film. It's a very
seen that director's other stuff.
It's an intense film.
If it's in that same tone, it's.
I found it very heavy, Mo. I was like, it was one of those films that once I watched it, I was like, you know what? I was so drained by it that I couldn't watch it again.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Number 3.
So number 3 for me is a film that came out earlier this year. Mark Ruffalo, Anne Hathaway, Dark Water. It tells.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I haven't heard good things about that. You enjoyed it?
No. It's a good film. Like, I mean, I think it's got a score of 80% on Rotten Tomatoes or something like 88%. And it just tells the story of this guy who works for this corporate law firm that, you know, he goes back to his town and he finds out that, you know, like his town's basically being flooded with like, you know, certain chemicals.
Yeah, true story,
But
isn't it?
yeah, this corporate law firm, obviously that's their client. So he's got to kind of go against them in order to basically do something or do the right thing, if you like. Again, a very heavy film, very draining, but I really, really liked it.
Okay. Yeah.
That was one I hadn't even heard of.
Yeah.
I'll have to keep my eye out for that one now. 7.6 on IMDb.
I'm sure we watched the trailer at some point, Mo. Yours.
We watched so many trailers this year, and that was like at the beginning of the year this film came out as well, like in February.
My number, was it 3? Extraction. Yeah, just pretty much where everything's on said. It's just a fun thrill ride, and big surprise. Wasn't really expecting much, but yeah, hell of a surprise. Enjoyed the hell out of it, man.
That's the thing. You just didn't expect. I didn't expect anything from it. But when you guys were going on about it, I was like,
weren't you like saying, I'm not going to watch this film? I've seen the trailer.
Yeah, you think it's just like an Indian film. I don't want to watch that.
I think I actually probably did say that now that memory is coming back to me.
But yeah, head of a thrill ride. And what's his name? Hemsworth.
There is a sequel in the works, right?
Apparently. Don't know what story they're going to tell, but you know, don't want to give away the ending for people.
Well, it's not like it had the most complex a story, right? The film is just built around like good action. Like, I mean, you can have an action film that is like 2 hours long and it's non-stop action, but the action could just be boring.
That's true, but part of the appeal is Hemsworth there, so I don't think as many people would have seen if it wasn't his face on it.
I mean, he certainly plays like the part and stuff, but I think like just the sheer action and the choreography of it was essentially what made that film.
Yeah, true.
Yeah. Right. So my number 3. I only got to like see 3 films at the cinema this year, and already like I've got a second one in this list. It came out very early this year, The Gentleman.
Oh,
with Guy Ritchie.
Yeah.
What's his name? Hugh Grant, just playing a character like you would just not imagine.
Yeah, Hugh Grant's character in that was just like it was a surprise because he hadn't done anything, if I'm not mistaken, he hadn't done much. So this was like his big film, wasn't it?
He hasn't done much for a while. And also he plays a particular type of character all the time, like that sort of like quintessential English gentleman type thing. Whereas in this, it was completely so different from anything he'd done before. Like that proper just sleaze bag, like with the language, the way he acts, it was just superb. But the whole film, like just that whole story, you're watching it unfold. And I'll be honest, like the first 20 minutes, I really wasn't into this film, but it like kind of suckers you in as they like tell you this story piece by piece.
You know, this is the thing, right, about this movie. It's like no one, as far as I'm concerned, can do this sort of movie, right, unless your name is Guy Ritchie, right? He does this so bloody well, right, that it throws you, because some of the other movies that you've seen him do earlier last year and the year before, you're like, did he do Aladdin?
No, I think he did do an Aladdin though, didn't he?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
What's Aladdin?
And he also
the live action one.
And he also did that
King Arthur as well.
Yeah, that was before.
And you watch those films and you're like, really? And then you watch a film like The Gentleman, and it's just so good, so much fun, especially if you're into that sort of
that old Lock, Stock,
East End,
gangster.
That sort of British sort of gangster with. And I also like what's his name? The guy from what's that TV show?
Are you talking about Matthew
Sons of
McConaughey?
Anarchy.
Oh no,
Sons of Anarchy. You're the main guy from Sons of Anarchy.
That guy. Yeah.
And again, Matthew McConaughey. It was just a good overall combo, man.
And don't forget Colin Farrell as the coach.
Yes.
Who's next? Arnold?
Yeah, so my
Number
number two was actually Mo's number 3, so it was The Gentleman.
Okay. My
Yeah.
number 2, Trial of the Chicago 7. Movie I wasn't gonna bother with, but Mo twisted my arm, insulted me, belittled me, put me down, told me I needed to see it. So I did. And yeah, loved the hell out of it. It was a lot of fun. A lot of fun. Well, fun is
Very, very good film.
But yeah.
It actually is a fun film because they managed to take this serious, this very serious subject matter and actually make it fun to watch.
And despite Sacha Baron Cohen's terrible accent, still fun.
Oh,
His accent was the worst.
no, it was
It
really
took
good.
me
Have you
out
seen
of
it? Have you seen it, Salem?
So what? Well, there is a story to this, right? So when it came out, me and my wife I was like, you know what, I want to watch this movie. So she sat down beside me, we're watching it, and I looked to my right 10 minutes in. I said, "You're really not enjoying this, are you?" And she's like, "No, I don't like this movie." So I was like, "Right, you know what? I'm gonna watch this film a bit later on by myself." So,
And you never
but
did.
yeah,
You ever did?
and I will we'll definitely watch it.
Yeah. But yeah, hell of enjoyable. Mo, break down the story of this from your memory. You got better memory. than me.
So basically, this is set like in the late 60s. I think it's just like before an election, and essentially, Sacha Baron Cohen and co are organizing a demonstration against the war, and essentially they basically get railroaded by the police, right? And when the new government comes in, essentially they accuse like these 7 folks of like instigating a riot and causing trouble and put them on trial. It's not historically accurate. There are the main story is true. There are some inaccuracies in the film, but that doesn't take away from like watching these like folks on trial, especially with like the mad judge.
The major bench marks are true though, unlike
Yes,
Hollywood, which is just made up bullshit.
Yeah, but like the most shocking thing in the film is made up. It never happened. Yeah, the bit where they handcuff the black guy and take him into another room. That kind of happened, but the bit that happened afterwards, like, was totally made up. Never happened.
That's a minor moment. Yeah, Salem, your number 1 film.
Hold on, wait.
Hold on.
Right, my number 2. So I had to really struggle between like what was go number 1 and number 2. Number 2, it was a film that kind of caught us by surprise. It dealt with one of my favorite subjects, time travel, kind of, or the type of a time loop type thing. Palm Springs.
I forgot about this one. Yeah.
It just worked on so many levels. It was such a feel-good film. And it really is like a modern day version of Groundhog Day, but just with like 2 people instead of 1.
Was a fun film. Was a feel-good. I think so. This would be a good one for you to watch with mine, man, because it's a good couples movie.
What streaming platforms is it on?
It's a Hulu film.
Oh, right, Hulu. All right, okay.
Internet.
All right. So I didn't even hear of this movie, so like knew nothing about it.
It's a small film.
See, that means you don't even listen to our show anymore, do you? Like, you would hear about all these things.
You knew about that a long time ago.
I have there's so many shows to choose from, man. See, what I do is I call you guys up in it and tell you guys, give me the update on the podcast. I want to hear it live from you guys, and that's how you do it for me.
But you can hear it. You can hear it live by like dialing in when we do it.
Mate, you could like in our chat room, you could see the live feed of everything that we're going to discuss. So that's my weekly update.
So number 1.
So my number 1 is so it came out everywhere else. Well, it came out in the US in December. We got it in January, and everyone was going mad about it. And that's when I got it. So I popped to the cinema. Everybody said, "You have to see this film in the cinema." So I was like, popped down to the cinema and was completely blown away, gripped from the very beginning to the very end. 1971.
That's a sneaky loophole, but I guess it works. I guess it kind of works.
1917. It is. Well, you said 1971.
17, yeah.
17, sorry. 1971.
No, that came out this year. It's not like a loophole. It came out this year over here.
But I mean, when you talk about what came out in the US, opposed to
Oh,
But I-
Eddie.
No,
See,
but I
Eddie
saw
would
it
have
last
had this
year.
at his number
Yeah.
one.
But I saw it last year. I think it was on my
That's
last year
fine.
list.
You can do it that way, but officially it had came out this year over here. If you got, I mean, like us saw it last year because they were advanced screenings.
Yeah, that's where I saw it.
So Uz was actually one of the people that just like he said, "Listen, you got to get to the cinema to watch this." And when I watch, check this. I don't know if you, Mo, have you seen it?
You know what? I actually haven't seen it.
Oh
Yeah.
my days.
It just takes you like this guy's journey from the very
Yeah.
beginning all the way to the very end is like I think every scene for me, every point that he has to go through something, there was never a moment that I didn't just like gasp for air. I was like, bloody heck, right? And it really felt like I don't think it's a true story, is it?
Yeah.
It's inspired by the director's grandfather, his
Yeah.
journey. He was what that guy was, like a messenger in the First World War.
Yeah. And it felt so real to me that I could actually see this, like some guy having to go through this in order to like stop a load of soldiers about to lose their lives and stopping that from happening. So intense. I would say, well, obviously it's not going to be at the cinema now, but like, you know, if you can check it out on your big screen, Mo, definitely, man, you will
Yeah.
thoroughly enjoy it.
Yeah, I'm surprised it took you so long. It's definitely worth watching. Very good film. It's number one now. Yeah, number one. Controversial film, divisive for a lot of people. And I admit, when I first saw it, I wasn't sure whether I liked it, but over time, I've come to admire it and what it tries to do and what it does, what it accomplishes, regardless of how it divides people.
Have you watched it again then recently?
I have.
Right.
Tenet. Yes. Thought-provoking. It stuck with me, which most films don't really. You watch them and, you know, they rattle around in your head for a few hours and then out. This one, it makes you think and makes you reinterpret events and how certain things happen in the course of people's actions. And I enjoyed the hell out of it, man.
So I remember walking out of the cinema because it was just like, for me, it was just like a system overload, right? And then going back in, I think I called you, Mo, at that time.
You did.
Yeah. So I actually spoke to Uz recently, and he said to me the same thing. He goes, you may want to watch this movie again because you see it the first time, there's a lot to take in, and there's a lot of unanswered questions that have been filtered because just the way the film is made. But when you watch it again, and maybe another third time, so many pieces fall in line, and which is like really, really well crafted, very intelligently made movie. So
I still stand by my criticisms of Washington. Don't think he was great. Would have been way stronger with a better, more charismatic leading
do
man.
not understand your like hatred of like Washington Jr.
He may be great in other things. I'm not dismissing him as an actor in general, but in this, he was just cardboard for me. Exactly like
I'm telling you now, just watch Black Klansman.
we say that to him every year, don't we? Just watch a Black Klansman. Yeah, I didn't really. I get what Eddie's saying about this particular film, but everything else that I've seen him in, I've actually enjoyed his performance. Well, not enjoyed, but I've been like, yeah, you know what, the dude can act.
So my number one, I did debate whether I was going to put like Tenet in my list or not, and ultimately I decided not to because I wanted to watch it again. I actually enjoyed the film, but not to the level where I thought, oh, that's like a top 5 film. I do think had I watched it again, some of the pieces and the genius of it might have come to the foreground, but. Then in that case, my top film of the year, I think it was The Trial of the Chicago 7. I just enjoyed watching that film so much. I remember just putting it on just to see what it looked like, to see whether it would be something I'd be interested in, like on a Saturday, like lunchtime. And it just drew me in. Like the 2 hours, 10 minutes that it is just flew by.
I knew you liked it. If you liked it
I loved it. Yeah, I really, really liked it.
Eddie, do you want to pick up your mic?
Oh, yeah, sorry. I knew you liked it, but I didn't think you loved it that much.
Oh, no, it was absolutely fantastic. Like from beginning to end, even though I was a little bit disappointed with some of the things that I found out afterwards that weren't true, it didn't stop it from just being a good piece of like fictional drama.
Okay, that's our top 5 films and TV of the year. And now last week I also asked some of you guys to send us your top 5 picks. And I've got one from Phoebe. No other. Oh shit! What's this?
The meeting has been upgraded by the host and now includes unlimited minutes.
Okay, I don't know what the fuck's that about. But yeah, so Phoebe sent in no explanation in terms of why certain things are why they are, but just in simple terms, which we like. It's quick, you know. I guess just run through this, not too long. So Phoebe's top 5 TV is Ratchet. So it's like you is The Great, which is a show I've heard quite a lot about with Emma something or other. But yeah, that's a period drama. Lovecraft Country, which is I think me and Mo started watching that, but we never.
I think I got 4 episodes in. It's actually one I will go back to.
Yeah, it was a real interesting, mind-bending world, manipulating. Hell of a what's it like a thrillery, horror-y?
It's like a horror, a historical, political. It's just a mix of everything.
Everything. Yeah. So that has to be revisited. Dave, Mo, no one to use. And Snowpiercer, which is a show I completely forgot about.
Oh yeah,
started watching that, was intrigued by it, but not enough to keep me to it.
It actually apparently it got like a good word of mouth. Like apparently people who were dissing it, who got towards the end, actually said it turned out to be like a really good like story.
Yeah, so I'm gonna have to go back to that. And her films, Soul, which is a Pixar movie, which came out at the same time Wonder Woman, so not long. For interesting, this is already in a best films of the year. It's interesting because I'm hearing a lot of people say fuck Wonder Woman, but Soul though, yeah, great film. Invisible Man, I think a film that a lot of people forgot about from this year.
Yeah, I was actually going to add that on my list as well. Like that film was very, very good, man. It just like came off slightly shy off 5 and 6. I would have added it in over Sonic, but because I had such a fun time with Sonic, I just had to throw that in instead.
We got Mank, which in brackets he says modern classic, so I gotta watch that.
I didn't actually get around to watching it.
Nah, nor did I. But I want to watch it on the dig out the projector again. I think that's one that deserves big screen.
Surely you should be watching all your films on the projector.
Sometimes you can't always be asked to, dig it out and get the tripod and everything. Tenet and Trial of Chicago 7. So Phoebe, thanks for listening. Thanks for your suggestions. Love them.
Should we do our other one as well? So one of our regulars, Kamran, he also contacted us via Instagram, and his top 5 TV shows. Number 5, Gangs of London.
Yes, it's not finished, but I want to, and I will do because I had hella fun with that. It is a crazy show.
Number 4, The Mandalorian.
Great.
Number 3, Better Call Saul. I just haven't got around to this season.
Will I ever get back to? I don't know.
You need to. It is actually a really good show.
Wait, Mo,
very good show.
Are you watching this Better Call Saul properly?
Yeah, I haven't done like this season, but I've like caught up. I've seen like all the other seasons.
I keep hearing
how many seasons are in now?
I think this is like season 4 or 5.
Yeah, people keep saying it's a great show, but
yeah,
it just didn't.
I saw season 1, and after that, I just dropped off.
Yeah, and that's exactly what I did. But then I picked it up again, like this year, I think at the beginning of this year, and just steamed through it.
I think Carmine has said before in other letters that it's something that we should watch.
You absolutely should. Number 2, Ozark, and number 1, The Boys.
Ah, nice. Great man things alike.
And for movies, number 5, Birds of Prey, which I just thought was one of the worst films I saw this year. I just did not get into that. Number 4, The Way Back.
Okay, nice.
Number 3, Extraction.
Nice.
Number 2, Tenet.
Nice.
And number 1, The Invisible Man. Looks like I need to check out The Invisible Man.
Same here. Never did. I've got to watch that. All right, so that's it from our 5s. Thanks again, Kamran, for writing your suggestions, and Phoebe. And Salem, thank you for joining us. Is there anything else you want to say to wrap up your films of the year? We're going to see more of you next year.
Yeah, no. I think I'm trying to sort out a schedule where I can join you guys more often as a guest. But hopefully I will see you.
You have you know
what? It's very sad because I was so looking forward to. I didn't even have Christmas dinner with Mo. Normally we meet up to have Christmas dinner, and our end of the year is like at Royal Nawab, and that ain't going ahead either. So, but hopefully I shall see you next year, and when this damn pandemic is over, maybe we could all meet up together.
It will never be over.
Before you go, are there any films that you're looking forward to for 2021? Or as I like to call it, the real 2020?
You know what, right? I don't even know what's coming out next year, so I'm not going to say, yeah, I'm looking
I don't think anyone does, really.
No.
It's all a placeholder.
Yeah, so I'll just see what drops, and hopefully I could grab something and join you guys definitely for another top 5 TV and movies next year as well.
But this has been good for you, actually, like getting like a partner who like watches a lot of telly. You've actually like watched a lot of TV this year.
Well, I tell you one weird thing, right? And you guys are probably going to laugh at this, right? Maybe, right? Is my partner watches? Obviously, she watches a lot of TV, right? And
he's trying really hard. He's trying really hard to say rubbish.
No, she watches some really, really good stuff as well, right?
Yeah.
But she's also into Pakistani dramas. All right.
So are you now?
No. So I really despise Pakistani dramas, but I think it was you, Eddie, who I was having this conversation with. You're watching certain TV shows that they're rubbish, but the more you sit there watching the screen, you start joining in. And then you need to slap yourself across the face, run out the room, all right, or run into the bathroom and splash cold water on your face, say, wake up.
Yeah, almost happened
with me. Worried
almost
that my
with
top
the Kardashians.
5. Yeah, but I'm a bit worried that my top 5 TV shows are going to all be Pakistani dramas next year.
Ooh, that'll be fun.
Yeah.
Well, Sam, it's good having you back, and don't be a bloody stranger, you lazy ass, because you got time. Don't give us that rubbish.
Yeah, it's so ironic. Now that you watch TV, you don't come on the show to talk about it.
It's crazy. Anyway, good seeing you again, buddy. So until next year.
All right. Take care, guys. Peace out. Cheers.
Yep.
Oh, let's get straight into it.
Wonder Woman 1984. It's I'll just lay it down, man. So I was so hyped and so excited to watch this film. I genuinely thought this was going to be
so much so that whenever I said I'm more looking forward to Black Widow, you were like, really?
Yeah, probably. Yeah. So much so that I genuinely thought this was going to be one of the highlights of the cinema going / watching films at home of the calendar, right?
I did think it was going to be good. I watched the trailers and I liked the trailers. I thought, okay, I'm going to give this a go. This looks like it could be fun.
Promotion for the film was super first class. The run up to the film, like, they let the press see this film like 15 days, like 2 weeks before like the movie came out, right? Or the movie was available, which is actually unheard of in this day and age. Normally, the press get to see it a couple of days beforehand, because if it's rubbish, they don't want that getting out. And word of mouth has actually been quite positive, which I'm really finding it hard to believe after watching this film.
What the fuck were they watching?
They probably watched the first film.
That's true. Yeah. All right, first thoughts, Mo. Your first general thoughts.
First general thoughts is the film is long. It is seriously long. It's 2.5 hours, right? And the film doesn't even get going until about an hour 20. I remember looking at, like, when her and Steve are walking around and basically they talk about art, and he's looking at the bin, and she's just going, "That's the bin." That's like at the hour sort of 10 mark.
And you consider that when the film gets going?
No, but I just remember looking at that, thinking like, I think about 10 minutes later, I think the film gets going. So I think it's about an hour and 20 minutes in. And the plot actually starts happening. Up until that point, you've got the stuff happening with Wonder Woman, you've got the stuff happening with Pedro Pascal, you've got the stuff happening with like Kirsten Wiig, and they all just seem to be like separate elements.
Now, much like the review on DC versus Marvel podcast, which I did with us, let's start with positives, Mo. What did you like? I suggest that Pedro Pascal is the highlight of this film. Like, he acts his ass off in this.
he's always enjoyable to watch. I've seen some criticism to say that he was just like a cartoon character, but I actually really liked what he did with the character itself. I mean, the idea was so ridiculous that I actually really liked the idea. Well, imagine like basically it's like, if you know, like that whole thing, like if you could have like 3 wishes, what would you wish for? And this guy found a loophole to like just keep on having wishes.
The rules of this whole wishing thing were never set. Like the parameters kept changing and moving and flexing depending on what part of the film we were at. Not just with this, even with other elements. Like let's not even talk about fucking Diana making just magically having the powers to make things go invisible just because it was convenient to do that.
Oh, can you settle something for me? Can Wonder Woman fly?
She has done in the comics.
Yeah,
but
so she can fly like Superman.
Sometimes, yeah, it depends on who's writing it. But over the years, she has flown. Yeah.
So she was just flying like she was Superman in this one.
Yeah, because it was just convenient to do so. But she starts flying, but she's still using the lasso of truth. We're just gonna jump around, guys. Fuck it, and it's gonna be a spoiler, so who cares? Doesn't really matter. But she's still using the lasso to get around on lightning. It's like, if you can fly, why are you bothering? But then she flies to go home to get the suit, which has wings, so that she can fly and fight.
I don't even know what happened there. I was just like, hold on, 1 minute she's flying after the plane, and the next she just lands and she's got the suit. Did I miss something in between?
She went home to get the suit because she was losing her powers, apparently.
But is that made clear in the film that she has gone home to get the suit?
She doesn't actually say, I'm going to get the suit. He just kind of, this
she
convenient suit, which she has in her apartment, this artifact, this highly precious thing that was historically significant to the Amazonians. Why she got it sitting on a wall in her house?
Well, hold on a minute. How have she got it full stop, right? Because apparently that Amazonian warrior, whatever you want to call them, was left to fend off like hundreds, if not thousands, of like invaders.
Yeah. So so either it should be destroyed or lost or they never explain that. They never explain how Pedro Pascal knows about this artifact, which no one else in the world seems to know about. People who study historical artifacts and objects had no idea what this thing was, that it ever existed. But this businessman somehow
just knew it all, right? The shady businessman.
Yeah, and he believed that it could do what.
Yeah. So you are essentially saying you want to make this film longer.
Where do you want to start with it, Bob? Let's just jump. Who cares? Let's jump around.
There were other things that really bothered me. I can't remember from the first one, but in this one, like there was just between Pine and Gadot, there just seemed to be no chemistry whatsoever. I could not believe that Wonder Woman had been pining for Pine like for decades.
60 years. It's ridiculous that this guy that she's known, she's 800 and something years old at this point. This guy who she knew for a week is the only joy she's had in her life. Her only come on.
That bit I can buy, right? That bit like he's like her one true love, and like she's been pining for him for 60 years. Obviously for her, 60 years is different from 60. Like for us, that's our entire life, right? You've wasted your life. But when they were on screen together, I could just not buy that these two were the love of each other's lives.
Yeah, because they were just too busy doing the whole fish out of water. The thing that they did with her in the first movie, where she came to the modern world and was like, oh, look at all this shit.
Yeah.
Ice cream. I guess they decided they wanted to just redo that again with Pine. And it's like, if you're alive in First World War, 17, 18, and you're a pilot, does that mean that you automatically can pilot a plane 60 years in the future with the advances in technology that you can still, and that plane
is a plane, right?
And that little fighter jet can go from North America all the way to Egypt.
It's like, just imagine, like, you've had a TV for years, right? And you buy a new TV and you put the control in front of your mum. And your mum's like, Eddie, this don't work.
That's not even it's like someone who played Pong back in the 70s and handing them a PS5 and go and get started. get your credentials in there, do the settings, and get playing. Like they ain't gonna have a fucking clue. It's like, oh, fuck, man. I don't know where. I can't.
And then she was able to make the entire plane invisible, which I guess is a superpower that I have seen like in the TV series.
Is it? So that's the problem. People's reference for Wonder Woman isn't the comic books.
It's the TV series.
It's that shitty TV series.
She has, I'm pretty sure I remember, there is like, you see her in a seated position in an invisible plane in the TV series.
They did.
Yeah.
But her ability to make it invisible, I think that plane was just magically, fucking. Yeah. We didn't last on the whole find positives in this film very long, did we?
It looks nice. Gadot is a very beautiful woman, very finely dressed. I didn't really linger on the special effects as being particularly bad. I know like there has been a lot of criticism. I don't know if you want to call out any particular instances.
It's her flying stuff look real bad. The sky behind her just look horrid. I'm not as hard on Cheetah as far as the effects goes, but I can see that it wasn't perfect. It's crazy that friggin' Mandalorian and like Star Trek Discovery look better than this.
I just think there was no need to turn her into an actual cheetah.
Well, it's the character. Cheetah.
Yeah,
it's her Joker to Batman.
She looked like when she's in the White House and she's like fighting and stuff. That was a fine look just to leave her like that. But how does she turn? How does she turn into the cheetah? Basically, she wished she could be more like Diana.
That was her first wish. This is another inconsistency. Apparently, there was a point in the film where people could only make one wish.
Yes,
on
for most of it.
But then she makes two wishes. She made that first wish about being strong and powerful like Diana, which ended up draining Diana of her powers. But then she made another wish on the plane about I want to be an apex predator. And that's what turned her into the cheetah, apparently. That's the monkey's paw bad side of the... But she seemed to love it. So I guess it ain't that much of a bad thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
What did you think of Kristen Wiig?
I actually thought she was okay in the role up until that point. Like when she's playing the ditzy assistant who ever so slowly grows in confidence and becomes a stronger woman. I actually thought she played that really well. I think this suffers from a Spider-Man 3 type issue, right? 2 villains, not enough time spent on either one.
Yeah, that does kind of make it a bit bloated because Cheetah is the villain for Wonder Woman in the comics. So it's like, but you made her just this little side character that's literally on screen for barely, not even 5 minutes.
Yep.
At the very end. And then gone, power's gone. So that's it. We're never going to see Cheetah again. It's a waste. Hell of a waste. But do you think his whole relationship with Pascal and his son, this robotic boy who has no mother and no other place except for when he visits his dad?
Or the fact that he's one minute he's in Pascal's office, and then minute number 2 he suddenly like managed to wander onto the lawn of the White House.
That's crazy. I only call it for his dad. So where the fuck's the mom?
He literally had the son in that script in order to like have an ending for the film. It was like just nothing else.
It felt like the director had to make everybody sympathetic in some way. It's like they didn't want to make anyone a true villain. Like, they didn't want to do that with the Cheetah, with Madeira, or with Pascal. It's like,
but that's fine because the best villains are the ones that are human, right? You don't really want like an overtly sort of like just crazy madman.
It's true, but I think this film needed that because everyone was they were trying too hard to make everybody about love, and it was like. It's interesting how divisive this film has been. Like, a lot of women do enjoy this, and LGBTQ community. They like that little relationship between Diana and whatever her name was, Kristen Wiig's character. And a lot of guys hate it.
But hold on, that relationship is like what 10 minutes long.
I know, but that whole thing where I went on social media and the whole stuff of them having their little lunch turned into a date in some people's minds, and their lovers, and I don't know, whatever.
Right, so 2 good-looking women can't go out to lunch without being sexualized. Come on, guys. Stop being perverts.
One person who did get used as an object and as meat. The poor bastard whose body was just stolen, and he was used as a puppet and made to have sex.
That made no sense at all either, right? Because the Egyptian guy wishes to have like his land back, right? And suddenly this massive wall just like appears. Are you telling me like they can't just bring a person back to life? He's got to like hijack somebody else's quantum leap style?
Yeah, why that guy?
Yeah.
And Diana didn't seem to give a damn until we found out that there was a bad side to every wish. So she seems to be happy to have.
Exactly. They didn't care. They didn't question, like,
No.
what about this guy's life? Like, you've just come here and he's gone.
Yeah, I know. He could have had a girlfriend he was going to propose to. He could have had kids that he was getting access to, that he had to go visit. Sick relatives that relied on him.
Did like no one come looking for this guy?
I know. And it's so bad. All right. One thing that people do seem to like, I was pretty ambivalent about, even though I loved the Themyscira stuff in the first film and in Justice League. But in this, I was just like, yeah, it was fine. What do you think of the race?
I enjoyed the race. What I actually didn't like about it, and to be honest, it's not a big sin, is the fact that you just had this child up against like fully grown like women, and obviously they're trying to show you like how good Diana was, even as a child, but she just acts like a little brat towards the end.
Yeah, there is a point that the reason why she was winning initially is because she is, unlike all the rest of them, technically they're normal. They're just under some. This is what. Well, I'll get to it. But Diana's supposed to be a half god, where the rest of them they're not. They're not that. So that's why she's so much faster and stronger and everything. What annoys me about this whole Wonder Woman world and Themyscira and this whole thing of gods, she's like the daughter of Zeus and the fantasy island, all these women on this island. It's never really, the mechanics of it are never really explained. I don't want to turn it into a Marvel DC thing, but 4 isn't the best film, the first 4 one, but at least it explains to a degree what they are, these Norse gods. They're just basically aliens. They live on this floating weird rock thing.
Everything that we perceive as like magic is science to them, essentially. Or the other way around.
Yeah, but they're basically aliens that are super strong, We never get any of that explanation with Wonder Woman. It's just so magic.
Did you have like the same? Did you have the same thought? I'm pretty sure we talked about this in the first film. Like when they're on the island and they're panning out, how do they procreate?
Well, yeah, we're supposed to believe that these, because there's a stadium, a full stadium. There's more of them than there's ever been.
Yeah.
So they've just existed in this hundreds of 20,000 of them just sitting there on this island.
They're just born magically.
I don't think they're born. I think they're supposed to believe that they've been there for like 1,000 years from ancient Greek times when they became hidden.
Right.
Yeah.
Just very odd, really, isn't it?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Where else you want to go, Mar? How do you take it?
I think this film could have done with some serious editing. There potentially is a good film in there. I'd like to see like a 2-hour cut. I do wonder if, because the first film had done so well, that if Jenkins was just left to her own devices and the studio didn't really sort of oversee her and basically push for a trim here, a trim there, maybe cut this, maybe cut that kind of thing.
It always happens, doesn't it? Like you get a certain amount of success and it's like, fine, do what you want. And the director or whoever believes, well, they love what I did last time. I can do anything. They'll love it.
Yeah. I mean, these types of films, they do not need to be 2.5 hours. Like 2 hours is like a good runtime for like this type of film.
Yeah, it needed more focus. Another criticism, which I don't think was necessarily intentional with the film, but the way it portrayed Middle Eastern and Islamic people. Did you see it as being a negative, detrimental image? Especially with an Israeli actress being the lead and that whole possible.
If there was, I didn't really see any of it. I mean, are you talking about the bit where like the Egyptian guy's whole wish is about like reclaiming the lands and stuff?
Just general, I think every person. But this is what I'm saying from seeing from people online that are like, this is a racist movie and blah blah blah.
I can't say that I really saw that. I'll be honest. You can call it a rubbish film. I'd probably agree with it in some sort of that. But racist, I mean, you're always gonna have caricatures of like of like ethnic people, right? Just to essentially say, right, this person is a such and such.
Yeah. More Max Lord. Should it work that when people have to touch him to make a wish that this satellite thing connecting with people, these rays touching them counts. And
You can just change the rules as you want, right? When it suits the plot.
What I hate, it's an argument that I've had with Salem a lot. What I hate is that people say, you question it too much. It's a superhero film. It doesn't matter.
There are good superhero films where you can suspend belief and don't question it, right? But this one, because it was just so not ridiculous, but it was just so bad, right? I'm just gonna say it. I was every like 20 minutes, I was just like flicking the thing. How much time is left? How much time is left? I really didn't enjoy it, and that's when you do start picking it apart.
How did they drop the ball so hard, Mo?
It's and this whole thing about like surely the amount of wealth and oil or whatever this guy had accumulated, at some point you just stop, right? But he just kept going with the wishes, even though like his body was like paying the toll for it.
I know. And he was just gaining all this power, but he's obviously killing them in the process. It was, but then he was trying to get people's health at the end. But it's why, when she put the lasso around his leg and was talking to all the people in the world, sorry if I'm distracted, I can smell smoke, like something's burning, and I'm looking around to find what it could be, and I have no idea. So that's a little worrying, especially since I live in a wooden house.
It's the outside of your house.
No, but it smells like electrical, like something's.
All right,
like a wire. Could be my last podcast, guys. But yeah, when she's talking to the people and she's like, rescind your wish, take it back, undo what's happening. And we're seeing like missiles that were after Russia shot us missiles and they disappeared. But the thing is, everybody didn't rescind their wish. It showed that it was only Max Lord saying that he rescinds his wish. That mattered. So why did people need to?
There is no logic to this film, right? Because I was also left wondering at the end, did all of this happen? When he rescinded all his wishes, did everything get reset? Obviously not, because you see the boy wandering onto the lawn of the White House. It was just left in such limbo. It's like the next time we visit this world, is it ever going to be referenced that the whole world is screwed?
Yeah, it's weird because the wall disappeared. If the wall disappeared, the missiles disappeared. Disappearing, the missiles were disappearing in the air.
Yeah.
Then shouldn't the boy just automatically go back to the office? And shouldn't the first guy who made his wish, the one who drank the coffee, he ordered the coffee, got a coffee, did he suddenly throw up coffee? Like, where are the rules?
They were very, very inconsistent.
Cheetah didn't rescind her wish, and she still went back, so it was unnecessary.
Completely. It just was it's like I said, I like the idea of like the wishes, but it was just handled so badly, so badly, and then just didn't have any form of like satisfying conclusion.
The writers of this film should have sat down and watched Big and see how they dealt with magical wishes and the dark side of doing that.
Yeah, I think the problem here is whereas Big really kept that story confined just to like a couple of characters, this tried to make it like a global thing, right? Tried to make the story far bigger than it is, and just fell flat.
Yeah, but it's fascinating how many people have connected to it and loved it. And I'm seeing people say they watched it twice on Christmas Day, on one day.
Yeah, you watch it once and you can't believe like how bad it is. So you want to watch it a second time, and then you still can't believe how bad it is, and you watch it a third time. It's got like a 5.7 rating on IMDb, so that kind of tells you.
It started pretty high, and then I think once more people started watching it, and I can't say all men are the ones that hated it. I think I've seen some women that didn't like it, but that kind of slowly. People realizing, oh no, actually, this isn't that good.
And it's not like Matt hating like a strong female character, right? Because I love the first film. I genuinely enjoyed that first film, and I was, like I said, I was looking so forward to this, and I was just like, they cannot screw this up. Like they've got the formula down.
It's weird because as a movie, now a lot of people compare, with Marvel DC. As a movie, Captain Marvel is a better movie, but Gal Gadot is a better. Or at least gave a better performance. I think she gave a good performance in this than Brie Larson did in Captain Marvel.
Oh, I mean, I can't fault her. She's great as Wonder Woman, right? She looks the part. She acts the part. She was not the problem with the film.
No.
It makes you worried, right? Because they've, like we said, they've already fast-tracked Wonder Woman 3.
But how when can that happen? We know that she's got like two.
Well, yeah. Well, that was going to get onto, right? So, but that also doesn't fare well for Cleopatra, which may or may not be happening, and Rogue Squadron.
Yeah, I'm worried now. I was excited for that when it was announced, but if she's willing to put this out there, I don't know.
And it's not like this was a rush job, right? They've had an additional 6 months to like tinker with the edit.
Yeah, the edit. They could have reshot stuff. They could have redone the effects, but no. They figured, yeah, it's fine, perfect.
Yeah, it almost makes you think like, no wonder they've just put it out on streaming.
But the thing is, it has done well. A lot of people did watch it, and there was a statement that Warner Brothers did put out saying that it exceeded their expectations, and that's why they're
of course it did. It's
number 3.
Fucking is Christmas Day, right? So everybody, and you had lots of stay-at-home orders. So and people gather around the TV like after they've like stuffed themselves to like watch. So yeah, it done really well because you've launched it on a day where a lot of people will sit down and watch a film.
Yeah, freaking hell, man. So Mo, what'd you give it out of 5? I mean, lassos.
Honestly, I was going to say a 2.5, but that's too close to a 3, which, like, in my mind, is a good film. So it's going to be a 2.
I gave it a 2 on DC versus Marvel, but the more I've been thinking about it, I'm actually going to give it 1.5 now. It's lost a half star. I just didn't enjoy it.
What finally did you think of the end credit sequence?
Linda Carter as I forgot the name. Adriatrice?
No, I can't remember her name
but
either.
She was the Amazonian that had the suit during that whole invasion thing.
Yeah, the original Wonder Woman.
I would have preferred, like, I don't think it matters for anything. I don't think they did it because of they want to put her in number 3, even though they may do that. But I don't think that's why they put it in there.
Kind of makes sense, right? That's what you're going to do.
But I think I would have been more into it if they de-aged her. I know this is something that's overdone a lot. Marvel do it a lot, and we saw it with Mandalorian. But I think to show the original Wonder Woman as the original Wonder Woman, for her to be, because they're ageless, they're immortal, basically.
So that's a very good point. Yeah,
aged as how she was in the original show. That would have made a little bit more of an impact with me.
That's reasonable.
Yeah, other than that, it just looked like a cameo for no reason, really.
I would love to have heard the original Wonder Woman music at that point. Just on the end credits.
As she's walking away. They should have done that. One last thing. Did it feel like the 80s for you, beyond the shopping mall scene?
It kind of did, and the shopping mall scene definitely stamped its like authority on that period, and the whole thing where they were walking around and showing Chris Pine's character Trevor, all the stuff. So it did feel like the 80s, especially like all the fashion. The only thing that really didn't was Diana's clothes. Everybody else really looked like they were wearing like 80s gear. She kind of just looked so chic and so fashionable. She wasn't really wearing anything that was particularly like 80s.
Yeah. I don't think I used enough music. I think that's my main gripe. I know sometimes it's some people don't like it when they play a lot of the 80s scenes, but I think it really, that's what, like Stranger Things, that's kind of the tone of the music that works.
By the way, what did you think of like the opening scene in the mall?
I got Donna vibes, but not the good Superman. Donna vibes, the bad ones. And it just, all men in this film, besides Trevor, are idiots. They're all bad, and they all get the ass kicked. They're all sexual perverts and deviants. It's like, and I'm not one to really hate on that. But
yeah, but I guess it was the 80s, right? You probably didn't really have like females going into like jewelry stores and pulling a robbery. It really is a man thing.
But at least if Diana's the moral good, sure, get the bank robbers. I mean the jewelry store robbers. But then the woman running that jewelry store, it was an illegal front. So shouldn't she have got arrested by Diana? Or what about the little girls that stole the sunglasses from the store? Shouldn't she have stopped them and be like, nah, you're better than that? But no, it was like only kick the shit out of the dudes.
Oh, I did say last thing, but one last thing. I guess, you can talk about how the guy who got quantum leaped. So I do wonder if the only reason they went with that method was so they could have like a bookend at the end of the film where he meets Diana and she kind of looks at him and like just thinks of Trevor.
but it didn't. I thought they were gonna like exchange numbers and she was gonna give love a chance, you know, because she says there was a line I kind of liked where she says when she walks away from him, "I'll never love again," and he says, "I pray that's not the case." So I would hope that this would avert back to that and her giving this other new guy a chance, but apparently not.
No.
Just this Hallmark movie moment where he's like, "Oh, it's beautiful," and then walks away.
Does
You
this
were raped. You were roofied. He was roofied.
in a literal sense, almost, right? I wonder if he can actually remember all the stuff, or does he just have like a week where like his memory is just blank, like remembers nothing,
I know.
like needs therapy, like loads of stuff from his like places missing. Does this break the law of like what Zack Snyder has done in the other films?
Well, I think that's one of the main reasons why they stuck it in the 80s, because it separates it. They don't really have to refer to anybody or anything. They just get to do their own.
It's essentially the film is pointless. Like at the end of this film, like nothing has changed.
No,
nothing at all.
Except for Wonder Woman can fly now, apparently, but she doesn't in BVS or.
And I bet you won't see that again.
No.
Until it's convenient.
Yeah. Till the story needs it. All right, guys. So, what did you think of Wonder Woman? Are we being too harsh? You know, is it genius, misunderstood? Let us know. How can they do so more?
Right, folks, if you want to contact us, we are at tatmpodcast@gmail.com. If you want to tweet at us, we are Talking Movies 3. And if you want to follow us on Instagram, we are Talking at the Movies.
So, guys, end of the show. For me, Ed Reese.
And me, Mo.
And also Salem earlier on. See you guys later next week. Next year. Oh, God.
Oh, yeah. Have a Happy New Year, folks.
Happy New Year. Later, guys.